Good morning and welcome. Happy to have you with us. We may get a few more folks joining us, but we'll be ready to get started here in just a moment. I am Kathy Brown with the Broward Center for Nonprofit Excellence here at the Community Foundation of Broward, and I am thrilled to be joined by our partners at Chazin and Company to talk about becoming a high-impact nonprofit. And some of the great services and resources they are. This is part of our Resource Spotlight series, highlighting organizations and companies that support the nonprofit sector. And I am thrilled to welcome Karen, Maria, and Vanessa. And Karen, let me just turn this right over to you. Those of you that are attending, if you'd introduce yourselves in the chat, that would be helpful. Just your name and organization would be great. And it will, as others join in, we'll get them to do that as well. And the last thing I'll say as I turn this to Karen, as you noticed when you logged in, we are recording. That is so that we can make this information available even when others may want to learn that couldn't join us this morning. So thanks for being here. And Karen, let me turn this right over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathy. As Kathy mentioned, these are the three right here on your screen, myself, Maria, and Vanessa, that will be presenting alongside me today, just so that we can teach you a little bit more about what Chazin and Company does and the services that we offer. So what we're going to talk about today are three topics: common financial challenges nonprofits face, some solutions to help you unleash your potential, the potential that your nonprofit has, and the benefits of partnering with a firm like ours.
So thank you, Karen. I know as EDs or finance professionals that work at nonprofits, we are just constantly trying to navigate a maze, whether it's the financial maze, the donor maze, the revenue maze, the paperwork maze. But there's a lot of things in the financial maze that keeps us up at night. I mean, we never know, when the funding is going to come in, if there's some regulations that are new that our organization now needs to abide by. There may be issues with cash flow, due to when the funding comes in. Some nonprofits are blessed to have a large endowment, most are not. And financial stability, long-term planning, and strategic planning can be difficult when you're just worried about tomorrow and how you're going to complete your mission and your goals in the short term. Another issue that nonprofits frequently have is just lack of resources. Like, everyone wears so many hats that it's hard to focus on one thing and become an expert in that one area. And finally, boards want reporting transparency. They want to know where the money's going, how the organization is doing. And it's hard to do that when you're not an expert in that area and you're wearing all these hats and you're worried about all these other things. The last thing you want to do is reconcile some accounts. So, organizations like Chazin and Company employ experts who can help with this. With the funding roller coaster, we help make solution-oriented budgeting for organizations. We can help you plan ahead with your cash flow statement. We can help track and diversify your revenue. The benefit of having someone there outside your organization who's not in the day-to-day is they're not consumed with the person who's walking in the door, the check that needs to go out, the phone call that's coming in. And they are real experts in that. They're trained in accounting, they're trained in finance, and they do this for hundreds of organizations. So they've seen so many solutions that can work, that there's a real benefit to being able to outsource some of this work. In addition to our finance functions, we also help with making strategic decisions. We have a lot of partnerships with third-party vendors that can make running a nonprofit so much easier. Automate your AP process, no more bills just sitting on your desk and paperwork coming in and someone needs to open the mail. So we have solutions that can help your organization become more efficient so that you can focus on the mission. And finally, we talked about building trust with data, and that trust can go to your donors, to your board, to your community, to even those that you serve and your employees. So it's important that your data is accurate and transparent.
So like Maria just shared with you, those are some examples of how we can help. Ways that we would improve efficiencies within your organization is that having a partner like us can help you recapture lost time. You can spend time focusing on your mission and your strategic plan, and we'll handle the details for you and make sure that your finances are in good order, that you are set up for success for grant applications, additional funding, etc. We also increase efficiencies, as Maria mentioned, through either software, introduction of processes, introducing reports that might help you see clearer into different areas of the organization and maybe where some focus needs to be paid attention to. We also improve data, not only just through some recommendations we make, but also we will review your accounting file, make sure the chart of accounts makes sense. So the reporting that's pulled out of it also makes sense and can help you, again, focus on your mission and start moving forward in the direction you want. And then lastly, accelerating mission success, as I've said 100 times, make strategic moves backed by data. So your data can support the initiatives that you're making, which also helps you plead your case when you go to your board. If you have something that you want to move forward on, you know that you've got data to back that you're interested in doing. A little bit about our firm. We were founded about 18 years ago by Adele Chazin. She is still the principal of the company. We service just over 250 nonprofits, and they're all a variety of nonprofits and also any size. So we do have a division that Vanessa will talk about a little bit more, but are for the smaller and startups. And then we have the ability to service mid-sized to large nonprofits as well. Each client is different. And because we work in the nonprofit space, we realize that resources change, staff changes, dollars change, etc. And so we tailor our services to meet whatever the need is. We can come in and do all of the accounting. We can complement a team that's doing lower level accounting and come and do the higher level. Or we can take the lower level if you have a higher level, director of finance, CFO, etc. We have over 70 staff people, and I just want to share with you that all of our staff are W-2 employees of Chazin & Company. We don't contract out or offshore anyone. And like I said, we can do all services from bookkeeping to CFO. All of our work is done virtually. Our staff is sprinkled around the country. Vanessa happens to be in Florida, as am I. And so all of our work is done remotely, and we've got clients and staff spread out through about 24 to 26 different states. And so with that, we have the three divisions: our ongoing client services, client accounting and advisory services, and NFP Smart Start. And I'm going to turn it over to Maria to tell you about the first two, and then Vanessa will talk to you more about the third.
Sure, thanks, Karen. So ongoing client services is one of our three divisions, and that is exactly what it is. We help with your month-to-month processes, whether that's paying your bills or closing your books. You have a dedicated resource that will fulfill those needs for you, and we're here every single month, every single day to help with what needs to be done. In addition to that, we have our second division, which is client accounting and advisory services. And this is for clients who perhaps need a little bit higher level work done, or they need an internal control assessment because their auditors said, hey, we really need to take a deeper dive into your internal controls, or perhaps they need an accounting manual. So client accounting and advisory services helps with assessments, accounting manuals, and then CFO level work, such as those cash flow statements, budgeting. It's more project based. So you can just, you can call us and say, hey, I'm going to have this project that's due in 4 months. Can your team take a deep dive into this and work on getting a assessment done, or work on getting this cash flow statement done for us? So we do those services in client accounting and advisory services. And then Vanessa manages our NFP Smart Start division.
Hi, thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. NFP Smart Start was developed specifically for startup and small nonprofits. A little interesting statistic or fun fact, of the 1.8 million registered nonprofits in the US, approximately 88% of them are small with 500,000 or less in revenue. So it goes to show that there are a big need for small and startup nonprofits. We offer a range of services, including advisory services. We can do this to help you pave the way to success, to fulfill and grow your mission. We do training for staff and volunteers. We implement accounting systems with a chart of accounts specific to your needs. And we offer periodic reviews, either monthly or quarterly, for the work to ensure accuracy for when it's time for a compilation or an audit review. And then we also offer monthly ongoing support previously mentioned by Maria. That is NFP Smart Start.
Thank you, Vanessa. And what is our goal? Our goal is that your mission can succeed. We don't want you to have to worry about the accounting or the finance side of the house so that you can really work on accelerating your mission. And in order to do that, we promise that we will have accurate data and experts ready for you. So those are two of our own missions, is to make sure that our data is always accurate, that you have excellent, proper financial oversight, that you're prepared for your audit, and then at the same time that you have an expert that you can call that's not necessarily on staff. So we really thrive in those two areas. And then, go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, sorry. This area, so leading technology and maximum transparency go hand in hand. You really can't have one without the other. So with leading technology, it's a cost-effective method to improve efficiencies by having access to powerful and scalable accounting software and integratable applications. This helps automate your monthly accounting functions so you can focus on your mission and strategize. And then maximum transparency is just this: accurately tracking and reporting transactions to ensure financial transparency. This data can earn the trust of your stakeholders and translates into growth and increased support. And our systems team can help your nonprofit implement various software applications so you can have this leading technology.
And Vanessa, we're lucky that we have so many clients on our consoles that we're able to offer these at reduced prices to nonprofits, and it helps establish additional internal controls for them, particularly those nonprofits that are smaller and they may not have 3 or 4 people available. So there's a lot of benefit to this technology that we have available.
So if the decision is that you want to learn more about us, you would start with a discovery call with myself or my colleague, Fran, and we would talk to you, learn a little bit more about the needs of your nonprofit. And then we request a few items from you in order to put together what we consider to be a pretty detailed proposal. So we do bill hourly for the work that we do. And so in order to really get a good handle on what your costs would be, we do a very detailed proposal to give you an idea based on the scope of work that you and I discussed. That'll give you an idea of what your monthly cost would be. The first step once you engage with us is to meet with our onboarding team. The onboarding team also works with the systems team. They review your accounting file. They talk to you and learn who does what, how, and why today, and then provide you any recommendations, either processes and or software to help you become more efficient. Once you are done working with that team, you transition over to our client services team that will have an accountant on staff. They're nonprofit accounting specialists. They are certified in nonprofit accounting. They can handle everything from accounts payable, accounts receivable, all the way to bank reconciliations, your month-end close. And then behind them sits a manager, and that manager is there for oversight, obviously, review of the accountant's work, but they are also there for you to provide redundancy. Should the accountant go on vacation for a week, you always have someone you can call. The teams do also have controllers that are available. So if there's a request to do what I call a high-level accounting function that is beyond that of what the nonprofit accounting specialist can handle, they will send it up to their manager. And if the manager knows that we have a controller on the team that can help with that, they'll push it down to them so you are billed at the lower rate. We're very conscious of the rates and understand that we're servicing nonprofits. So we do the best that we can in order to keep pricing in line with what the project request you have of us. So our I should say our marketing group, but also our accountants with the help of our marketing group have done a great job of creating this wonderful guide. This is a tool for you. You're happy to open up your phone and click on that if you wish. And it provides you with a guide to building board confidence and mastering nonprofit financials. So I think it would be a great tool for you, a little takeaway for hanging in with us for these few minutes. And then lastly, this is how you can get in touch with me. I would love to meet with you and see if this is a need that you might have at your nonprofit that we can help you with. And I think, as both Maria and Vanessa touched on, we're here to help you at any level, whether it be getting set up correctly, and then you go on about your business and we check in once in a while just to make sure things look okay and you're on the right track, to providing you full services to help you in your day-to-day. So does anyone have any questions that we can answer?
Happy to take questions from our those of you logged in. And while you're thinking about that, I'll pose a couple here. You talked about the small nonprofit space, and I will tell you that we know in Broward that we have over 10,000 nonprofits, and well over 80% of them are small budgets. In many cases under 50,000, not even under 500,000, but even further down. We also have a small grants project or program. The application is open right now, and it is fully capacity driven. So, applicants might be able to contract with you or bring in your services for various things. So I guess my question along that, you touched on audits, and I know that's a big concern for particularly our small nonprofits because they are expensive, and they don't always even realize what goes into creating and preparing for an audit. So I wonder if you might talk about that, and any other like if a financial review is something that you all offer or work through, or any other strategies that the nonprofits might have, particularly the smaller organizations, to prepare for that.
I could speak to that since that's my department. Yes, and that's one of the things I mentioned as one of the services we provide are the periodic reviews. And the purpose of that, I mean, there's many purposes, but the main goal is to ensure that you're audit ready when that time comes, and that you're compliant and you're following GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, for those that may not know what that means. So yes, that is one of the things that my department does. And it's very helpful because, it takes us just a few hours each quarter to review your books to make sure everything's compliant. And then if you need an audit, we can also help prepare for that as well.
Yeah,
most small nonprofits don't really need, depends on the state they're in, of course, but we can help guide them if they do need an audit or not. And some nonprofits, even if they're smaller and are not required to get an audit because of state regulations, they may still want an audit. Their board may still want an audit completed. And the benefit that we have found is that we're able to keep audit costs down because we have everything prepared. And so it's not a pain for the auditors to get in and do all their work. So we hand them a package and they can audit, and that should hopefully keep the nonprofit costs down when it comes to auditing as well.
Awesome.
And I do want to add one other thing. One of the things that I advise my clients on is just it's good habits and best practices. So if you start out, especially with a startup, if you start out off with good habits, then you'll always be ready for an audit at any time that needs to happen. And you're not scrambling at the time when you have to file the 990.
Yeah. And a lot of times the funders, I know we ask again for either your most recent audit or a financial review. We also give our small nonprofits an opportunity, if they don't have either of those ready, that they can give a financial statement, annual financial statement, or worst case scenario, we can take a 990 as long as it's filled out. So I am assuming that if they were working with you, that even the preparation of a financial statement would be something they could get help with.
Right.
If they don't necessarily need an audit, other than for funding, for our funding, and I know other funders in Broward have the same policy. So if that preparation of a financial statement is something that you all help with, that's a great resource for our nonprofits as well.
Yes, Kathy,
Absolutely.
as part of our month-end close, that's, we pretty much review every account and then prepare a statement of financial position and a statement of activities, as well as an analytical review so that we can catch anything that might be off. Did they accidentally book rent twice or didn't book enough rent? So that way we can catch that during our monthly review, and then the financial statements are then prepared. And our compliance team actually bundles those up together. They get a nice PDF of that. So they can give that to their board or to a funding organization. So
yeah. So for everybody that's watching, you know that the Community Foundation of Broward would accept that for that requirement. That financial statement would be plenty. Though if you are if you are preparing for an audit, certainly that material or that information is helpful as well. But just to know that is something sort of an added benefit in working with a firm like Chazin and Company, is that you'll have that at the ready. It's not something that you'll have to find or create. It'll already be part of the process. And again, attendees, please feel welcome to just come off mute if you do have questions. I'm happy to pause the couple that I have, but as I don't see anybody. I might also ask, as nonprofits join you, do you have any sort of like common things, either things they can do to get ready or sort of common first mistakes that are being made that maybe you could help people think about as they're thinking about joining in with a company like yours for the services?
I would say tracking your data at some capacity. And I know a lot of clients come to my department using Excel, which should suffice if you don't have the funds for a system or you're just not ready for that. But just to have all your data together, and then they can come to us and we can implement systems and best practices and processes for them.
Yeah.
But that's one of the pain points, is getting all the data together and what buckets to put them in, especially for grant funding.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, Kathy, I think establishing a chart of accounts that is not voluminous, that makes sense, that's user friendly, that always helps with proper coding in the long term and creates less confusion. So I think that's very important, is to have a clear chart of accounts that everyone understands the naming convention and the numbering convention. That's always extremely helpful. And that's usually one of the first areas that we focus on, is the chart of accounts. And then the second area that we also focus on is internal controls, and can we implement a quick product that will make your internal controls stronger? I mean, we've had, and you say, oh, this, fraud doesn't happen. I trust people. Well, in this world, and I hate to say it, but, if the opportunity is there and sometimes people have, the rationale, then fraud does happen. And, we've seen it time and time again. And so it's really important that you do have internal controls in place. And so implementing something like, Bill.com or another Expensify or Divvy really helps add that level of internal control without adding personnel. So that's the second area that we like to focus on.
Right. All right. So that gives me a good sense of kind of how a new or smaller grassroots organization might come in. Thinking about maybe some of the larger organizations that you would work with, what is sort of a typical entryway for them, and any things, either pain points for a mid-sized to large organization as they're preparing or coming in to work with you?
They're very similar to the smaller organizations, Kathy, in terms of chart accounts and internal controls. But what we find with the larger organizations is they get so consumed with being able to fulfill their mission that accounting takes a backside, and so accounts aren't reconciled. Yeah. And that can cause a huge problem when you're getting your 990 prepared if your accounts aren't reconciled and you don't have accurate data. And so our onboarding team spends a lot of time with the larger nonprofits just cleaning up and getting accurate data and accurate beginning balances in place. And so that's that AP and AR, making sure all the revenue is recorded and the bills are recorded, are definite pain points for the larger organizations.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You shared a resource, and I might invite you to put that back up so that anybody that's participating now or even on the recorded version can jump back on and check that. I'm curious if there are resources or other things that you might do with, say, educating boards in understanding financials, if that's something that you have a resource or something that you also provide.
Yeah, Kathy, we actually have I guess a vlog is what it would be called, but it's Accounting on Chazin on our website. We have a couple episodes on there about how educating boards. I know we have some new resources coming out this fall. I did one in particular on understanding financials for boards. And we also will offer those services for folks if they would like to have a board education type seminar. We're more than happy to engage you in that work.
Yeah, that's great.
Kathy, we also like to just share, I'm pretty proud of the work that our marketing team has done on our website. We do have a resource page that I encourage, any nonprofit, even if they don't ever plan to use us, to visit that site, because there are numerous blogs, articles, videos, webinars, and like Maria said, there's a whole series called Counting on Chazin that has a number of interview style, kind of like you're doing with us now, but on specific topics that would interest nonprofits. And some of them are quite interesting as far as topics. So I would definitely encourage them to do that.
Right. And that you've got the website on your screen here too, but for those of you watching and listening, know that we also have that highlighted on the Community Foundation of Broward's website under the Nonprofit Center. That site is located, so you can click if you don't happen to have it written down or you're somewhere else, just pop onto the Community Foundation site and you can find a lot of different resources that are out there to support nonprofits, including the fabulous work of Chazin and Company and these great resources. As we wrap up here, I just want to thank all of you for your sharing your time. You've done this with us a couple of times. And for those of you joining us, I hope this is helpful. We will pop the recording out on the website as well. So if you want to visit back again and check that out, we'd be glad to have you do that. Any sort of parting words for our participants as we close this out?
I would just say thank you for taking the time to listen to us and learn more about our services. And we are happy to help you when and if the need ever arises. So just let us know how we can help.
We certainly appreciate the support of our nonprofits here in Broward and across the country to build and strengthen our sector. So I thank all of you for being with us. If you need more information about the Community Foundation of Broward and the Broward Center for Nonprofit Excellence, you can go to cfbroward.org. And you'll find all kinds of great resources, including the resources we mentioned today with Chazin and Company. So thank you all for being with us.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.